Hello, and welcome again to my station. I know it's been a while, but listen, I've been doing well. Thank you very much. It's Big Al, baby, and you know what? I'm in the house. You better watch your mouth. And today we're going to be talking about, are you your own worst enemy? My goodness. Wow, I can say that for myself. I've been there. I've been my own worst enemy. And the purpose of this video is to educate you on changing your mindset on how you view yourself. Because a lot of times we think we don't view ourselves as our own worst enemy, and we really, really do. So stay tuned, and Big Al is going to be right back. It's Big Al, baby. And I'm in the house. You better watch your mouth. Hello, and welcome to my station. This is Big Al, baby. And I'm in the house. You better watch your mouth. Today we're going to be talking about, are you your own worst enemy? My goodness. Are you? Are you your own worst enemy? The purpose of this video is to educate you about how you view yourself. I don't know about you, because I know in my life, I've put myself down. I was my own worst enemy. I was my own worst enemy because I put myself down. Sometimes you don't need help from people. People will put you down. Life will put you down. Systems put you down. So you don't need help from your own self putting you down. There are 5 things we're going to talk about being your own worst enemy. Number 1, being your own worst enemy. I just remember my life being my own worst enemy. I used to call myself an idiot. I don't know about you, but when you call yourself names, it's terrible because people already call you names. People have you labeled. Don't let people label you. And I was labeled with certain things because some of you know my story. I couldn't read well. I couldn't spell well. I was in special ed. When you have circumstances in your life that limit your ability, no matter what it is, what happens is the enemy comes into your mind, which is the devil, and he tells you, you're worth nothing. You're an idiot. You're stupid. But see, I didn't know that God had a plan for my life. No one told me that until I got much older and I realized about life. I always had questions about life, but I always was putting myself down because I measured myself to people. And you cannot measure your life up and yourself up with people. Because what happens when you measure yourself up to people and to things in life, you're living in the shadow of that. Because that's not who God created you to be like other people. He created you fearfully and wonderfully made, uniquely made. God has created you. So don't be your own worst enemy. Don't. You know, because being your own worst enemy is a mindset. It's a mindset. It totally is a mindset. And we don't think about that because we have attitudes in our life. And what is an attitude? An attitude is a subtle way of thinking about someone or something, and it's typically reflected on a person's behavior. That's what an attitude is. And we grow up in life, and we have these attitudes, and we have these things in our life. You know, when I start measuring myself to things and to people, I do become my own worst enemy. I become the worst because I'm never going to measure up to some people's success because that's a person's gifting. And you got to recognize a person when they're gifted and when a person is talented. That's what they should be operating and not me. Because I think social media, I think TV, I think certain things that's ruined our lives, and we measure ourselves up to that, living in a house on the water, driving a speedboat, doing all these things, and then we get out of the realm and maybe God doesn't want you to live like that. Maybe God doesn't want you to idolize those certain people. Maybe he wants you to be who he created you to be. And you need to find your own niche. You need to find your own creativity in your life, which God had created for you to be. Number two is the enemy is a thief. If you know anything about an enemy, he steals. A thief steals. But your enemy, which is a person that takes and takes from you, because an enemy is one that opposes you, one that comes against you. So if I'm my own worst enemy, I'm taking from myself. I'm taking from myself. I'm not living up to my potential in my own self and in my own development. I'm not living up to it. What I'm doing is I'm measuring myself, and that's the wrong thing to do. Measure yourself. And I did that for years. I'm telling you, I did that for years, measuring myself to others, measuring myself to neighborhoods, measuring myself to jobs, measuring myself to whatever it is. And you're never going to be successful like that. You have to find out who you are, where you belong in life, and then you can be successful when you're finding your place in life, which God has created every man their own pathway. Number three, why do we lie to ourselves? Why do we lie to ourselves? My goodness, we lie to ourselves in life. I know I've lied to myself plenty of times. Like I'm saying, measuring yourself to things and people. You know, I lied to myself so many times, in relationships we lie to ourselves. You know, you're in a bad relationship and you're like, oh, it's going to work out. They're going to change. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And they'll change. But no, we have to say to ourselves, is this for me? We lie to ourselves. We lie to ourselves with finances. And I'll be the first one to tell you, when you get a hold of finances and you don't know how to manage finances in life, you know what's going to happen when you don't know how to manage? You're going to mismanage. And the worst thing in life is to mismanage funds, to mismanage finances, and you're just living either below your privileges or you're living above your privileges. You know, you have to live right where the money that you received in this life come in, because so many people, what they do, they get scratch off, they say, I'm going to scratch off, or they go gambling, they start gambling. And let me tell you one thing, once you get hooked on certain things, oh my goodness, it is hard to break. It is hard to break. Food is hard to break, food addiction. People don't talk about that. You know, food addiction, drugs, gambling. Those things are hard to break in life. There's certain things in our lives, if we're not careful, they're hard to break. Even relationships, hard to break. If that person is not for you and you're not meant to be in that relationship, it's never going to work. There's no way in the world you can repair something that's not willing. You know what that reminds me of? I used to have a bunch of old cars. And when you don't have money to fix these cars, and when you don't have money to keep maintaining these cars, you do every little nickel and dime you try. But when the life of that car is over, when it has ran that course, that car, it is over, baby. It is over. I'm telling you right now, the course of that car was over. There's nothing I could do to repair it. So relationships are the same way. The same thing with money. If I have money and I keep borrowing to pay this one, borrowing to pay, I'm mismanaging my money. So now I have to take a look at myself. And I say, am I my own worst enemy? You know, because you can become your own worst enemy in a lot of different ways. You know, like that old saying, you know, you got to live above, not below you means, but even keel. You can't live above it. You shouldn't be living below it. You should be living right smack dab in the middle of the finances that come in your life. No, it's good if you have great finances, but if I'm always gambling to try to get to that financial level, a lot of times that's not what I tried that. I tried those Fortune 500 things. I did this, I did that to get wealthy. And guess what happened? Boom. went right down the tube. That doesn't work because that's not the life God wanted me to live. God wanted me to live a life unto Him. He wanted me to live within my means. And you know what? It's hard to live within your means because there's so many things in life that is attractive. There's so many things in life that we want to buy. There's so many things in places in life we want to go. There's so many things in life. So we have to live even plane where God has called us to live. Not higher, not lower, but even plane. And that's hard to do. The fourth thing. Why do we make excuses? The fourth thing is, why do we make excuses? We make excuses for everything. I'll be the first one to tell you. You know, have you ever been there where, you need a job, but you're not willing to get up and go out and physically obtain the job? You make excuses. Oh, it's my color. Oh, I'm too heavy. Oh, I'm not smart enough. Oh, this is not good enough. Oh, they don't like me. All excuses when God has given us the ability in our lives to achieve whatever He's called us to achieve. God is good, folks, and He has given us ability, gifts, and talent to do what He's called us to do. So if I'm being my own worst enemy, I'm making excuses for things. I'm being my own worst enemy because I'm not living in the potential He has placed before me. Am I as smart as everybody else? Of course not. I'm smart in my own way. I've got wisdom and knowledge which God has given me. So I have to stay in the place where God has called me to be. You know, I have to stay in that pathway He has called me to be and not make excuses for things. So many people make excuses for things because, you know what? We have to take on responsibility. And a lot of times in life, we have to take the blunt of things. What I mean by that, we have to be able to say, you know what? It's my fault. I missed it. Let me tell you one thing. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. Financial mistakes. I made mistakes with relationships. There's a lot of mistakes I've made. But I learned to do one thing now. I pray about everything I do. I ask God to help me with my decision making, with my finances, how to be a better manager of my finances. And I think that's so difficult with people in life. People always say, oh, I need more money. Sometimes you got the money, you need to manage it. You know, so it's in a process of paying debt off and not having certain things so you can live the way God intended for you to live, because God's not going to give you more than He already has given you if you mismanage it. You know, it's all about managing your life in the way God intended for you to live. You know, so stop making excuses. I'm talking to myself today. I can't make any excuse. There is no excuses. I cannot make excuses. So the fifth thing is the blame game. My goodness, the blame game. Let me tell you one thing. We've all been there. It was his fault. It was her fault. It was the job's fault. It was daddy's fault. It was mama's fault. We played a blame game. No, we have to take responsibility, folks. I'm the first one to tell you. It's about growing up. It's about taking responsibility for things in life. And I need to take responsibility for my own actions. If I did something wrong in life, because people like to judge you when you make mistakes, you know. Because they'll say, oh, you call yourself a Christian, when most people don't know what it's like to be a Christian. I encourage you, if you want to live a selfless life, become a Christian. You want to get stepped on? Become a Christian. You want to love and be loved? Become a Christian. So I'm not going to judge nobody or step on anybody's toes if I haven't walked in their moccasins. Because so many people, they like to cast judgment. See, I told you so, I told you. You know, it's like that old play. If I got in the game, I would do this, I would throw it over here. If I got in the game, I would make the game-winning shot. If I got up to bat, man, I would knock a home run. You know, all the people that's always on the outside, the naysayers, saying what they would do. If they were this, if they were that. I wouldn't have did this. I wouldn't have made that mistake. And a lot of times what happens in life, we end up going through certain situations in our life where you can look back and say, hey, wait a minute. I opened my fat mouth too much, so now I have to eat my words. So be careful how you put your mouth on somebody. The Word of God says life and death is in the power of the tongue. So I have to watch what I'm speaking. I have to watch what I'm saying. So I can't blame people for my own fault. Yeah, maybe the devil used some people to attack my life, to talk about me, and I've been there, baby. Big Al's been there where people they don't even know your situation. They don't even know what's going on in your life. And they bad-mouthing you. They got their mouth on you. They're talking bad about you. They're talking bad about your family. They're all over the place. They're just tearing you up, man. They eating you like a steak dinner and mashed potatoes. They just eating you up, baby. And they don't even know the real deal. One thing I learned to do when I see a situation or I hear a situation, I learn to pray. I don't learn to talk. I don't learn to run my mouth because I don't know. And a lot of times in my life, the situations I was in, God allowed me to go through them so He can build my life. That's why I like to call Him the God that builds my life, because God builds your life. He takes you and He puts you in His gym. You're in God's gym. And God will put you on the treadmill for a while. Then God will put you on the elliptical for a while. Then God will have you lifting those weights. He'll have you lifting weights, God. And then God will take you to the swimming pool and He'll have you swimming, running. And then He'll take you to the track and have you running around because He's building your life, your endurance. For things that's going to come in your life, things that's going to attack your life, things that's going to attack your family, so you can be spiritually strong to handle every situation. You're in God's gym, maybe. Maybe you're in God's gym. Maybe you're running around the track. Maybe you winded. Maybe you feel like, you know what? Maybe look at myself. Maybe I am my own worst enemy. Because God created us for His own pleasure and purpose, to be what? Like Him. You know, I always say this. If God is building our life and we're supposed to be like God, why are we not acting like God? Why are we not following God's word? Why are we not acting like Him? And why are we acting like the world? Why are we acting like Satan, the devil? We go around gossiping. We go around putting people down. We go around doing all these things. Why are we not acting like God, our Creator? He created us for His own pleasure. So why are we not acting like Him? I want to thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of Big Al's Life Journey. See you next episode.